I'm Russell Furr. I'm a master plumber, and I will be looking at plumbing fails and just overall plumbing work to see if I approve. Ooh, yeah, that's a water leak. Probably from a bathtub leaking or something like that. First, you gotta cut the ceiling open and figure out what's going on. And a lot of times, it's strange. Like 9 times out of 10, it's just bad caulking or bad tile. It's pretty rarely is it a plumbing issue when you have a leak like that. Oof. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't even know what to say about that one. No, that's definitely a hack or bad plumb or something like that. Somebody tried to save money. Man.
What's going on there?
Making my eyes hurt. It's unprofessional, I know that. Just the way they trapped it is all screwed up. But a professional could definitely get that cleaned up and get that looking right. Well, the trap is not code approved. These are just like random drain fittings that they've put together to create a trap. That's called a slip joint. So what you want there is you want a hub, a nice deep hub for that pipe to slide into to prevent it from popping out, because once you're running your disposal, it's going to create some pressure, and a lot of times it'll cause that joint to blow apart when it's not done correctly like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's all nice and strapped nicely. That's a electric tankless heater with PEX pipe, so that's what that expansion tool will be used for. Yeah, it looks pretty good, just from what I'm looking at here. Ooh, yeah, that's bad. That's Harry Homeowner special right there. What they should have done was use 2 traps, which they thought they were using 2 traps, but one's on its side, so it can't hold water, so it cannot create a water seal for sewer gas. So, and that's that upper joint there, turning around and then dropping down. So that sink is not trapped, so you're gonna get sewer gas coming out of that sink opening. This one here is trapped, but they've got a bunch of tape wrapped around it, so they need a plumber to come in there and fix that. All that needs cut out and redone. It looks horrible. Yeah, that's good. That's a wash machine pan, it looks like. So what you got there is they've just got a wash machine pan with some 1-inch PVC fittings coming off of it and dumping into hopefully an approved floor drain. I can't see down inside that drain to make sure there's a trap or anything, but hopefully that's done correctly. It's not ideal because if that looks like a vanity, so your feet might get in the way, kind of kicking it or something maybe, but with the setup they have, that looks to be about the only way they could have done it. You can see right there, it looks like the stem broke off of the cartridge. It almost looks like it was cut. Well, I doubt he touched it and it just fell off. You know, that's a solid piece of metal there. You're not gonna just cut that or touch it and have it fall off. Sometimes what'll happen is the handle screw will get corroded on. You can't get the handle off. So in that case, you just take a saw and just cut the stem off. And then at that point, you put in a new cartridge and a new handle, and you're back in business. So that could be what happened. The touching it and it falling off could be a little tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, I'd say it's probably time for a new faucet instead of tracking down parts for that thing. If you don't know the brand of the faucet, then it's really difficult to find parts for it. Judging by how corroded that stem is, I'd say it's just time for a new faucet. Your popular brands are going to be pretty easy to get parts for. Things from weird places like IKEA and whatnot. Honestly, a lot of times that stuff they don't even make replacement parts for. So, you know, you buy a faucet for a few $100 and you end up having to just throw it in the trash after 3 to 5 years because it leaks and you can't find parts for it. So that's why it pays to, especially buy something from a licensed contractor. They'll be able to get the faucet from their vendors. When your faucet needs parts, we know exactly where it came from, we know exactly what it is, parts will be readily available, that sort of thing. So, you know, there's a lot of value in going through a licensed contractor. What the heck? I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. Someone probably ordered that off the internet and tried doing it themselves. But man, it looks like it's looks like that's hose thread for a wash machine hose, more than likely. So that would probably be what they call a boiler drain. And the tap on the side, I'm not quite sure why that tap exists on the side like that. Could be a bleeder, possibly, that they threaded a fitting into. But it's definitely strange. And then the nice compression fitting there, that's nice. It's just all needs cut out and redone correctly. They saved a lot of money on that, though, I can promise you that. Get the P-trap to tighten on the drain extension. It's because you need what's called a reducing washer. You need to call a professional. It's 1 1/4 inch drain and 1 1/2 inch trap. You need what's called a reducing washer. That's pretty cool right there. That's old school stuff there. There's lots of different kinds of traps that have been in existence. That particular type of trap, I don't know the exact name of it, but it's pretty cool, man. Something like that's an antique. You'll cut open ceilings and things in old houses and find stuff like that. You know, one popular one is called a drum trap, which looks different from that, but it's still an old school style trap that you find periodically from time to time in older homes. You know, it's pretty cool. And that's a backflow preventer for your irrigation system in your yard. And they leak out of that cap up there. There's a diaphragm that goes bad. Just need a rebuild kit, no big deal. So what you see a lot of times in that instance is you can't use steel pipe in plumbing and domestic water systems because it rusts. And what happens is, I've seen it where someone will use a piece of steel pipe on a bathtub faucet like that, and then every time you turn the faucet on, the water runs through the steel pipe and collects all the rust off the inside of the pipe, and then water comes out looking all rusty like that. So if she's only getting the brownish red water at that one spot, then that's probably what's going on. Just need to dig in and see. So I probably would end up recommending replacing that. I've seen gas pipe outside being uncoated where it just rusts, you know, completely rust that has holes in it, and it's just blowing gas out and people have no idea. That's where there's a lot of value in these home safety inspections that we do, where we kind of just go through the whole system and kind of check things out, get a professional set of eyes on everything just to spot things like that could be a potential you know, hazard for families. Next steps, well, you got the wrong handle on there. That's an old school American Standard toilet where someone has changed the flush valve. It had an old school actuator is what they called them. It's called an actuating unit. They removed the tank, they changed the flush valve, took out the actuator, put a standard flush valve in it, but did not change the handle. That handle is specific to that actuating unit. So that handle needs to be changed. The flush valve, the overflow on the flush valve is too high. So what happens there is the fill valve, which fills the tank and the bowl with water after the toilet's flushed, the tank fills. If for some reason that fill valve malfunctions and that tank overfills, that's where that overflow comes into play. So that needs to be cut. That plastic overflow tube needs to be cut down below the handle hole, because as the water rises inside the tank, you want the water to go down to the overflow, not come out the handle hole and flood the house, which I've seen many times by handymen and people trying to save a buck on plumbing repairs. So you need to cut down that overflow, change the handle, take off that little plastic thing on the top of the overflow tube. You don't need that. But other than that, make those couple corrections and you'd be good to go. It's old school, man. It's got a swastika on it. Yeah, it's like an old some kind of old water valve or something. It's pretty neat. You know, before the swastika was associated with, I guess, the hate that it's associated with these days, you know, before all that went down, you know, they were heavily into manufacturing and they would export a lot of their goods to the United States, and there's valves like that in this country that you find from time to time too. Oof, not good. What causes this? Leaking nipples. So that little pipe right there is called a nipple that comes out of the tank. It's just leaking out of that, or even a leaking joint here, leaky solder joint. One of these joints is leaking that's causing all that corrosion there. But that water heater needs replaced, and whatever's leaking, if it's a copper pipe or whatever, needs to be replaced too. Cut the pipes out and drain the tank and get the thing out of there. Looks like it might even be a direct vent based on the venting that I'm seeing here. This is Russell Furr. Thanks for watching my reactions to plumbing fails. Tune in to see more.